Okay, is it safe to assume that everyone is aligned and I'm good to go for my next slide, right? Okay, I'm going on. So we just covered the concept of implementing the grouping by and having clause by making use of the where clause in all our SOQL queries. So just a key point: if you want to apply some filter before you do the grouping, use the where clause. But if you want to apply some filter after doing the grouping, make use of the having clause. So both of them might be doing the same thing, but significances are entirely different, and the way how they must be made use is also entirely different. You cannot just make use of having clause without group by, and at the same time it's where clause is not at all mandatory for your SOQL query at all. If at all you feel that there is a need for you to drill down, if you see that there is a need for you to do some filtering, only then you will be making use of a where clause. This is one of the most frequently asked interview question to elaborate the difference between where and having. If you want to filter on the reports before you do some grouping, make use of the where clause. If you want to do some filtering after the grouping is done, then you will be making use of the having clause. Just a quick recap on all the keywords that we have covered so far. If you see, I have marked them with the red asterisk indicating that they are mandatory. You cannot write a SOQL query without making use of these two keywords. Every other keyword is optional for you and can be used only based on your requirement, but whereas select and from must be used in order to complete a SOQL query. So select and from will be will be the prerequisites for writing a SOQL query. We have covered the select, we have covered the from. Order by, it is used for sorting the data based on a specific value for a specific column, and the values that are available for sorting are ascending and descending. If you do not specify anything, ascending will be taken as the default sorting order. We also have a keyword called a limit, which is used to limit the number of records that will be written. Offset, if you want to specify your own index, then you'll be making use of offset. If at all you want to filter the records that are coming as part of your SOQL query, you can make use of where, and inside where arithmetic operators are supported, logical operators are supported, and a special mention for in operator and also for the like operator. If you want to really perform some aggregate operations in your SOQL query, then you can make use of these aggregate operations. And if you really want to group them, then you can use the group by keyword. And if you want to perform a filter after grouping the results, then having is the keyword that must be made use of. Now let me show you a single SOQL query with the correct order of precedence. So this has to be written first. If you have a filter to be applied, then where will be coming up. If you have to do any grouping, then grouping, and then the having. These two must be coming like this only. And if at all you have a limitation, then use limit. And then if you have an offset, use this. And then all rows, this I have not told what all rows is about, because I cannot actually demonstrate to you in the SOQL query editor, but I'll just tell you what all rows is about. The moment you try to delete a record, the record will not be removed from the Salesforce system immediately. It will be moved to recycle bin, and it will be stored in the recycle bin for a period of, I think, 15 days. I might be wrong here. I'm not exactly sure if it's 15 or 30 days, but will be present in the recycle bin for some period of time. And within that period, if you do not try to restore that record, then it will be deleted permanently. That's how the Salesforce operates. If at all, as part of your SOQL query, you also want to fetch the records present in your recycle bin, then you have to specify this keyword called all rows, and this has to be placed exactly at the end. There must not be anything after this. If you say all rows, then it will fetch the records present in the recycle bin, and this is used in Apex, not something like this. You cannot say all rows over here. This has to be used inside Apex. So this is pretty much everything we have covered so far. Now let's enter into the next phase of SOQL, which is about relationships. Till now, whatever queries we have written or whatever keywords we have understood so far have been confined only for fetching records belonging to a single object. Whatever we did was confined for a single object only. We did filtering on a single object. When we did grouping, even we did on a single object. So whatever we did is completely confined only for a single language. And if you remember my very first slide, I told you that SOQL, when elaborated, will become Salesforce object query language, not objects. It is a singular, not a plural. But now I am taking my words back, stating that Salesforce allows you to write query on multiple objects. But the prerequisite is When you're trying to fetch data from multiple objects, ensure that they are related to each other. The relationship can be achieved either by using a lookup or master detail. Doesn't matter, but relationship should be present. If you want to fetch records from multiple objects, they must be related with each other. If there is no relationship, then no, you cannot get the results as part of a single SOQL query. You have to write one SOQL query on one object, another on the other object. As part of single SOQL query, you cannot get the data. But if at all both of them are related, then your single SOQL query is quite capable enough to fetch the data related to multiple objects. Any questions so far? Okay, I'm assuming no questions. Fine. Now, when we speak about relationships, let's break it down into multiple pieces. Let's modularize it. The relationship concept is kind of straightforward if we look at it from a high level functional point of view, not from a technical point of view, but from a high level functional point of view. When you are trying to create relationship between multiple objects, or like between two objects, one will be the parent and one will be the child. That's the bottom line. No matter what kind of relationship you are trying to achieve, be it one to many or many to one, no matter how you try to do, obviously one will be the parent and one will be the child. Now let us take a scenario like this. If you are writing SOQL query on the child object and if you want to fetch the parent fields, we have a different process. If your SOQL query is on the parent object and you are trying to query records on the child object, then the process is different. Then again, process is same for both standard and custom, but again there are few keyword changes, not keyword changes, but there are slight modifications that you have to do if at all the relationship is standard and if at all the relationship is custom. Though the process is same, but the way how you write SOQL query will differ in quite some scenarios. So let's understand that. So if you see here, the point is so clear that SOQL on parent object to fetch details of its children. We have standard relationship, account on contact. So you're trying to write a SOQL query on the account object, and this SOQL query should be fetching you the details of contact object. In the same way, we are writing our SOQL query on the teacher object and we are trying to fetch details of the student object. Now it's the other way around. Your SOQL query is on the contact and you are trying to get records on account. Your SOQL query is on the student and you are trying to get records from the teacher. So this is it. Now, let us first start with child to parent relationships. Means you are writing your SOQL query on the child object. From this example, our child object is contact. So that is what it is. We are taking example of account on contact. So now the child is contact here. Now we are trying to write a SOQL query on the contact object, and that SOQL query should also be fetching you the details of its associated parent account, because we know that account is parent and contact is child. That is the native functionality of Salesforce. If the SOQL query is being written on the child object, and if you want to query details of the parent object, then the operator that you should make use of is dot. Now let me take a step back. If at all you are so familiar with writing the formula fields, by using a formula field, you can refer to a cross object. You can have a formula field on the contact object stating that fetch me the account name of its parent. You can have one field on the contact that will show you the account billing city. You can have one field on opportunity object that will show you the account's annual revenue. You can create one formula field, and whenever you create a formula field and if you are trying to refer to a field present on its parent object, it will immediately show you a dot. System will do it for you. If okay, after this session, try to create a formula field on any of the child object and try to access any field from the parent. You will see a dot will be coming up. In the same way, when you are trying to write a SOQL query on the child object, and if you want to fetch something from the parent, you have to make use of dot operator. Okay, we understood that we have to make use of dot operator. How will the dot help me? What is the process? What is the syntax? Let's take that now. Now what I want to do is I want to get my contacts. I have written this. This is pretty straightforward. Now along with this, what I want to do is I also want to fetch its associated accounts name. I also want to fetch its associated accounts name, because name is a field present on the account object. Account is related to contact. Now how can I fetch the name of account? That is something which we'll understand now. Now we understood that we have to use a dot here. Okay, fine. Let's put a dot now. What should be and what is the process that I have to follow means, first understand what is the field that you are thinking to query from the parent record? What is the field we are trying to query for a field called name? So what you will do is just copy the API name. Okay, this is the API name. So just put it after the dot. After that, what do we have to do? We should just put the API name of the field that you are thinking to query. Then what should I place before this dot? Before this dot, you have to place the relationship field name. Where is the relationship field present? Relationship field is present on the contact object. Now come to contact, go to the fields, identify the field which is speaking about the relationship. Yes, this is the field that is speaking about the relationship. Just copy it and put it over there. Now this is how your SOQL query becomes. What are we trying to do? Our SOQL query is on the contact object only. But what are we trying to fetch? We are trying to fetch the name of its associated parent account. Even though our SOQL query is on the contact object, we are still able to fetch details of its associated parent record, though the objects are different. In a single SOQL query, you are able to fetch details related to multiple objects. Okay. Now I want to fetch account billing city also. Now what should I do? I know that I have to write a dot operator. After the dot, I have to write field name on the parent object. Yes, billing city is the field. Before the dot, I have to put the API name of the relationship field. Just put it over here. That's it. As simple as it. What you have to do is just copy paste the field API name. Just copy paste the relationship field API name and then put a dot. After the dot, go to the parent object. From parent object, which field do you really want to query? Just paste it. That's it. If you see, if I just say billing city, it will throw me an error because billing city is not a field on contact. No such column billing city on entity contact. But whereas when I say account dot billing city, account is a field on contact. But what are we trying to do? We are not querying for account. We are querying for a field on this account because what is this account field holding? This account field is holding a record. From that record, we are trying to fetch a specific field. That is how it actually works. Now you can ask me, okay, fine, I understood your process. I have to query by making use of a dot operator. Now I just wanted to know, what will this actually return? I know that you told me that I have to write a SOQL query like this: select and then the field names. While placing the field names, you told me that whatever field names are present here which are unique, I should make use of them. Then why is it throwing me an error? No such column account on entity contact. You told me that field name should be written just like this, but why is it throwing me an error? Account is a field present. I can see that account is present here, but why is it throwing error? Means at this point of time you should understand the fact that relationship fields behave quite differently than the normal fields. Relationship fields behavior is different when we speak about a normal field. How should I do it? I wanted to know, what is this field actually holding? If at all the relationship is standard, if at all the relationship is standard, which means this was not created by you, this was given by Salesforce to you means. And if you are trying to know the value that is present in this field means, always remember that along with the field name, you should add something called as ID. Only then it will work for you. Account ID is the field name that is present on the contact, but though it is showing you account, that is not how it works in SOQL query. If the relationship is standard, you have to place ID, and along with ID, if you want some other field, then account dot name. This is how you have to do. I have seen many people doing something like this: account dot id from contact. Let me tell you, this is not a good practice. When you are making use of dot operator, what is the system trying to do? The system is actually going one level higher, going into this record, fetching the id and then adding this into your table. Why do you really want to do it if it is directly available on the contact record itself? If it is directly available on the contact, why should you go one level higher, go to the corresponding parent record and then fetch the ID? That is incorrect. Though it is giving you the same output, but when we speak from the best practices point of view or from the efficiency point of view or as part of the query optimization, it is not at all recommended to make use of dot operator unnecessarily when you can achieve it without dot. Account ID can be so easily available to you when you write your query on the child object itself. You are not at all looking onto the parent. Account ID is a field present on the contact. So why do you want to go for the parent record and then fetch the ID if it is available on the child record itself? Same applies for opportunity also. You can just say like this: If at all the relationship is standard, always remember that if at all the relationship is standard, you cannot directly query for the field name. You have to append something called as ID. Only then the system will work. If you see here, I have one more field called Warner. Now I will try to query for Warner. If I click on execute, it is throwing me an error. Why? Though the field name is Warner, it is of type lookup, means it is of type relationship, and it is a standard field. I can see that it is present under standard. So what should I do? I have to add ID. Only then it will work for me. But no, IDs are not really giving me enough information. With ID, it is difficult for me to understand who the owner is. Now I want to know the name of the owner. So what should I do? Okay, first let me put a dot. What is the field name? Owner is the field name. Let me put owner. Then user is expecting me to bring the name. So what is this object? User is the object. Let me go to the user object, and then from user let me go to the fields. Let me see if there is a field by name. Yes, I see that there is a field by name. So let me put it over here. So what am I trying to do here? Select ID comma Warner ID comma Warner dot name from opportunity, and this is giving me the names. This is how you have to write a SOQL query. When you are making use of a standard field, standard relationship field, make sure that you are appending ID. If you want to get some extra detail apart from ID, then make use of dot operator and then provide the API name of the field from the parent object. This is how you will be writing a SOQL query on the child object that can provide you the details of its associated parent. Any questions? Okay, sure. Do you want me to repeat this again? Okay, sure. Let me repeat it again. Now, what I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to query for the fields on my opportunity object. Okay, let me take contact as an example because I have contact open. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to query for few fields on the contact. And now my requirement is that I should fetch the account details. When I say account details, I do not want every field on the associated account record. I just want the billing city of my account. So what will I do? I know that I have to make use of a dot operator because if my SOQL query is on the child object and if I am trying to query for field on the parent object, dot is the operator that will help me. So after the dot, what should I add? I should add the field API name. I wanted to get the billing city. Before the dot, what should I do? I should add the field name on the child object, which is speaking about the relationship. So this is the field that is speaking about the relationship account dot billing city from contact, and this will give me the results that I'm actually looking for. Now, what I want to do is, yes, I understand that billing city is coming up for me. I know that the field names that are available here are accessible for me in order to write a SOQL query. But there is a quite clause here. There is a bit of clause here stating that if at all the relationship is standard, means Salesforce created that relationship field, not you. It is a standard field. Then you cannot directly access that standard field in your SOQL query. How can we access that field? Means you have to place ID. Only then you will be able to query for it. Only ID is available for you without making use of dot operator. If you want to fetch anything related to parent, only ID can be available to you. If you want to query for any other field on the parent apart from ID, then dot operator will be coming into rescue. Only ID is available to you without dot operator. If you want to query for any other field apart from ID, then you have to make use of dot operator. Now, just I'm repeating my last sentence. I'm telling that if you want to query just for ID, even if you say account.id, that will still give you the output. But the difference is that when you say account.id, the system, how the process will be running behind the scenes means this SOQL query will try to go into the account record from the contact. It will go into the account record. From the account record, it will capture the ID and it will get it for you. But let me tell you that this ID is available directly in the contact itself. You don't really have to traverse through the path of going into its parent record and then fetching it. ID is directly available on the contact. So if you want to just query for the parent record ID, do not make use of the dot operator. If you want to query for any other field apart from ID from the parent, only then make use of dot operator. This is the process of making use of SOQL query For fetching parent records, having your SOQL query on the child object, provided that provided that the relationship is standard, not custom. If at all the relationship is standard, only then it will work. Now, let us take an example to see how this will behave if the relationship is custom. Okay, we are pretty much clear with the standard. We understood the dot operator. We understood that I have to place ID here. Now, let us see how will the relationship be. How will the SOQL query be if at all the relationship is custom? Means I have created a lookup field. For my demo purpose, what I did was I have created an object by name engagement. Let me also see if there are any other objects, maybe just to see. Okay, fine. I have an object by name engagement, and this engagement is having a look master detail field with opportunity. Means engagement is the child, opportunity is the parent. Now, first let me write a normal SOQL query to fetch details from engagement. So select ID, comma, name from engagement. Very simple thing. Yes, I wrote it. Now, what I want to do is I want to fetch its associated opportunities stage name. Yes, make use of dot operator. Stage name is the field present on the parent, so put it after the dot. Now, before the dot, what should I do? I should come here, and I told you that you need to put the field API name which is speaking about the relationship. Yes, this is the field that is speaking about the relationship. So I'm copying it and I'm pasting it here, and I am clicking on execute. At this point of time, it is throwing me an error stating that did not understand the relationship. But why? This is the API name and it should understand the relationship. But why did it not understand the relationship? Means always remember that if you are making use of dot operator, the field whatever you are placing before the dot operator is nothing but the relationship field. Now you have to tell to the system that this is a normal field, but it is holding a relationship. How are you telling to the system that this is a normal field, but it is holding a relationship? So you have to consider differently. Means replace double underscore c with double underscore r. This is the place where double underscore r has to be used. If at all you are trying to query for something on the related object, only then double underscore r will be coming into picture. I remember someone asking me this question. I am stressing on this point that if you are trying to access something on the related object, then double underscore r will be coming into picture. If you are trying to make use of something on the same object, it is just double underscore c if custom, if not just the API name of the field. But double underscore r will be made use of if and only if you are trying to access for something on a related object. Now I am clicking on execute. Now if you see here, I am able to see select ID, comma, name, comma, opportunity double underscore r dot stage name from engagement. Now let me also show you this opportunity double underscore r dot id. Yes, this will also do the job for me. It is fetching me the id. But I told you that id is available on the child object when you have the relationship. So why should you make use of dot here? So let me remove the dot and let me click on execute. This is invalid. When you say double underscore r, system is expecting that dot should be present. Without having the dot, you cannot make use of double underscore r just like this as a field. As a field, I'm repeating this point, as a field. When I say as a field, something that comes in between select keyword and from keyword, you cannot use it. Then how can I get the id? I understand that double underscore r dot id is giving me the id, but it is a bad practice. Why should I go for the parent object and then fetch the id if it is so easily available on the child object itself? Then what should I do? Means remove the dot operator. But if I remove the dot operator, it is not working for me. For custom objects, Salesforce made it so easy for me. Not for custom objects, for custom relationships, Salesforce made it so easy that if you just paste the API name, you will be getting the ID. You don't really have to write anything. If you just paste the API name, you will get the ID. But whereas if the relationship is standard, along with the standard field name, you have to place ID. But if it is custom relationship, just paste the field name. It works as is. You don't really have to worry about putting an ID or making a double underscore or anything. Just paste the field name, that will give you the ID. But if you want to fetch anything apart from ID, make use of dot operator, replace double underscore c with double underscore r, then write the field name. This is kind of confusing. Now let me take you to the slide and I will explain it in a detailed way. For standard relationship, if it is the field name from child object, yes, this is the field name from child object, dot operator, and the field name from parent object. Straightforward. For custom relationship, it is the field name from child object, replace double underscore C with double underscore R. We know that opportunity double underscore C is the field name. So we have replaced double underscore C with double underscore R, and then the field name from the parent object. So if I'm querying for name of opportunity, it will be dot name or it will be dot stage name, and then the normal object name. So it will be like this. Then what is the difference between ID and opportunities double underscore C? Babu, could you elaborate that question? I did not get that. Are you referring to opportunity double underscore C this and then the ID field this? Is that your question? Okay. This ID is for the record engagement. This is for the record opportunity. If you try to open this engagement record, engagement record ID is this. And if I try to open this opportunity record ID is this. Now, if you see, ignore this part, select ID from engagement. This ID is nothing but the engagement record ID. Opportunity double underscore C will give me the ID of the associated opportunity record. Both of their data type is same, but still the value that they're holding is different. Okay, so this is how child to parent relationship works. Always remember that in a single field you can hold only one value. In a lookup field you cannot store multiple account records. Only one account record you can select. I mean, be account is just an example. If you try to create a relationship field, you can have only one record selected, due to which dot can do the job for you. Just the field name and then dot, that's it, it is enough. But whereas when we speak about parent to children, the relationship is kind of tweaked here. Why? Because one parent can have multiple children. When there are multiple children, dot operator cannot really give you enough control. When there are multiple children, how can we do it? At this point of time, we have to understand that if you want to query for something on the children, you have to write a separate SOQL query without having to write a separate SOQL query. You cannot complete your SOQL that will fetch you the details of parent and child. But if it is from child to parent, it is very easy, because one child can have only one parent stored in one field, due to which you are making use of dot operator and getting your job done. But when it is from parent to child, it is kind of different. So before I go into it, let's try to complete few examples with from child to parent, so that we all can be clear on this. First example, to get details of opportunities that include ID, name, and associated accounts billing city. Okay, ID and name are from opportunity, and accounts billing city is what they're asking for. So let me write it. Select ID comma name from opportunity, which is pretty straightforward. Then accounts billing city. So I know that I have to, it is not ID. They're not asking for ID of account, they're asking for something different. So I have to put a dot operator. They're asking for billing city. So I'm putting dot billing city. Now I have to paste the field name, which is nothing but just account. So I'm pasting it like this. Select ID comma name comma account dot billing city from opportunity, and if you see, I'm able to get them. Second example, to get name and opportunities probability of all the engagement. So now they're asking us to write SOQL query on the engagement that should give you the name of the engagement and probability of its associated opportunity. So first let me write SOQL query on the engagement. As they're asking for name, select name from engagement double underscore C. Then what are they asking for? They're asking for probability. So they're not asking for ID. As they're not asking for ID, what should I do? I have to put a dot here. They're asking for the probability. And then what should I place before the dot? I have to place the field name. What is the field name? Let me go to the fields. What is the field name which is speaking about relationship? Opportunity double underscore C. But as I just told you that double underscore C has to be replaced with double underscore R, I am making it as double underscore R, and I am clicking on execute. So there is only one engagement record, due to which I have received only one record over here. And this record is showing me the details of engagement and also of its associated opportunity record. Okay. Any questions on the examples?
So for the standard object, we should not no need to mention the underscore R, right?
I mean, double underscore C has to be replaced with double underscore R. When you say double underscore R, you are telling to the system that this is something which was done by me, not given by you.
Something like in account, you are mentioning that account dot billing city, but whereas
because
in
it's a standard field, because this is
yeah,
a
the
custom
standard.
field. So
Yeah,
when you
so
have double underscore C, it is custom, right? You're replacing See with R stating that it is a custom created by me.
Okay, if it is not like from engagement or custom object, if it is a something like a contact object and
Then that's
account
it.
dot,
That's it.
yeah,
That's it. If it is
that's it, right?
standard, just the field name and then the field name from parent. Field
You
name
don't
from
need to
parent.
mention. Yeah,
Correct. Correct. Yes. 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 You don't have to mention.
yeah.
So if we are going with the contact object at the primary stage and it has a relationship with the account,
Okay.
and it also has a account has a relationship with the opportunity.
Account has a relationship with opportunity. Means is opportunity the parent of account or child of account?
Like account and opportunity are in the same place.
Or in the
Child.
same?
In child.
No, no. So account is parent and opportunity is the child, correct?
Yes.
So you have contact here, and for this contact, account is the parent, and for account, opportunity is the child, correct?
Hmm.
Okay. Now
And
on with yes,
if I
tell
am
me.
querying with the contact, can I find the related opportunity account which is related to that account?
Okay. Let me tell you. As part of SOQL, you can query details of the records that are related with each other, or contact and opportunity related directly.
No.
So we can't. If you want, you can do it for contact and account, or account and opportunity, or opportunity and account, but not from contact and opportunity, because there is no direct relationship between these two.
So like we are querying from account, right? Like from the contact, we are getting details of account, right?
Correct.
So in the similar way, can't we add one more relationship to query the opportunity name also?
If you want to do it, the only way available is create a lookup or master detail field on contact and associate with opportunity. See, the way how you have to understand this is, in a single SOQL query, we ideally aim only for one object. But as there are relationships, it was extended to get the details of the related record, just the related, and if and only if the relationship is direct relationship. Indirect relationships are not allowed. What you can do is, in Apex, I'm giving an example. In Apex, what you can do is, from the contact, fetch all the account IDs. Once you have account IDs, write a separate SOQL query on the opportunity. That is the only way possible. But in a single SOQL query, having contact as your primary object, you cannot get something which is not related.
Okay. Can we
And
do like
where's the engagement? Where's the engagement? Is that under opportunity?
Yes, it's under opportunity. So I can show you how it is actually. If you look into the engagement, I have created a master detail relationship for the opportunity object, due to which opportunity became the parent and engagement became the child.
so? Is there any chances like if the opportunity was parent to the account and we can do query from the contact directly?
Is this what you mean to say?
Yes.
Yes, this can be done. This can be done.
And there should be double relationship, right?
I mean, not double relationship. Contact is related with account, and you are trying to query for a field on account. And as opportunity is a field on account, it is available to you directly. I will show you that. That will be my next example. I can show you that.
Okay, like is there any limitation while doing this? Like only
There are some limitations. I have one slide just about limitations.
Oh,
That will be at the end.
yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, now I am proceeding further to speak about the concept of parent to child relationships. I told you that one parent can have multiple children, due to which dot operator will not work here, because there is no single field to hold all the children, because children are multiple records, so a single field cannot do it, due to which there is a related list. If you open any of the record, let me open any record. If I open this account record, we all know that account is having contact as its children, opportunity as its children. If I scroll down, they're coming up as a related list. We call them as list because they are multiple. But whereas when you open a contact, you are storing its parent in a single field, because you know that one contact can have only one account and you're storing it in a single field. As you're storing it in a single field, dot operator is doing the job for you. But whereas when we speak about parent to child, it is a list. as it is a list. Dot operator cannot help you. You have to write one individual independent SOQL query. Now I will show you how to do that. I do not want to speak about this slide. First, let's complete the examples, then maybe we will come out to the you know the basic part of it. To get details of all accounts with opportunities, in this example they're asking us to fetch all the accounts along with its opportunities. So first let us write a SOQL query for the accounts. We know how to do that. So select id comma name from account. We all know how this works. Select id comma name from account. Then they're asking us to fetch its associated opportunities as well, and I told you that we have to write a SOQL. So how can we write a SOQL means, now try to understand the concept that I told you whatever you write in between select and from must be a field name. Now I'm taking my words back. Along with field names you can also write a SOQL query, but there are many conditions that are attached to it. First condition, if at all you want to write a SOQL query in between select and from, you have to use parentheses. Then select what here. Ideally we will be placing the object name, which is opportunity here, but this time we will not be placing the object name here. We will be placing the relationship name. Okay, what is this relationship name? Is it just the field name? Yes, it is just the field name. Go to the child object. If you place this, it will not work. So this is different. Field name is different, relationship name is different. What is this relationship name means? Open this field. If you open this field, you see something called as child relationship name. There is something called as child relationship name. If you open that corresponding lookup or master detail field, you see a specific section called child relationship name. You see a specific control called child relationship name, and whatever you see over there, copy that and then paste it over here. And if you click on execute, then this SOQL query will query all the accounts along with its opportunities. But this is counted as two SOQL queries behind the scenes. It is not a single SOQL query, it is counted as two SOQL queries. But the advantage is, if you see for this specific row, it fetched the opportunities of this specific account only. It did not query for all the opportunities, it queried opportunities of this specific row only. That's how it worked. So I'm just repeating what I did. So first I have written a SOQL query on my account object, which is pretty basic. Then what did I do? I have written a SOQL query. How? By placing parentheses. Then what did I do inside the parentheses? I wrote the select keyword, the field names that I want to query for, and then rather than placing the object name this time, what did I do? I went into the child object, opened the relationship field, and then I see a specific section called child relationship name, and I copied this and I pasted it over here. And this is how I am able to fetch the details of all the associated children having my SOQL query on the parent. But it is still considered as two SOQL queries only. Now, let us look into the next example. To get details of all prospect accounts with opportunities. Okay, what is this prospect account? On the account object, we have a field by name type here. In this type, prospect is one of the value. So now the requirement is that get all the prospect accounts along with its opportunities. Now we are so familiar with the where clause, we know how to apply filters. So let me quickly write that. Where type is equal to prospect. That's it. No change at all. So there are no account records in my system with type as prospect. So let me make this record. I'm just making type as prospect, coming here, clicking on refresh it. Yeah, if you see here, for this specific account record, there are no opportunities, due to which nothing came up. I can see that ID got ID is holding something, name is holding something, but whereas when I speak about these opportunities, it is holding nothing because there are no opportunities for this account. Now let us look into the next example. To get details of all prospect accounts with their associated one opportunities. Now they're asking us to add a filter on the child object, on the child relationship. How can we do this? Means same like the way how we usually do, no difference at all. It is more like a separate SOQL query, but the only difference is rather than placing the object name, we are placing the child relationship name. That is the only difference. The rest all is still the same. If you see here, if I remove this, we all are familiar with this. If I add this, it is quite making a difference. But if we understand the prerequisites, it will be very easy. The first prerequisite is you need to have parenthesis. Second prerequisite is Rather than specifying the object name, you have to specify the child relationship name. That's it. If I click on execute, if there are any records, they will be coming up, but as there are no records, it is not coming up. Now, to get details of all the opportunities with engagements. Now, this time we are dealing with a custom relationship. Till now, we have dealt with standard, and I told you that standard and custom are similar in the approach, but while implementing, there will be little difference. So, to get details of all opportunities, so first let me write my SOQL query on the opportunity. Select ID, comma name from opportunity. Yes, this gives me the results. Then details of all opportunities with engagements. As I told you that I have to write one more SOQL query. Select ID from engagement double underscore C. But this won't work because obviously I have to place the relationship name here. So I am going to this object, opening this field, and then I will be looking into this child relationship name. The name is engagements. Okay. Let me place engagements and click on execute. But even then this is not working. Reason being, this is custom. If it is standard, you can just place it the way it is, but as it is custom, you have to say double underscore C. Even then this will not work. Reason being, when you say double underscore C, system is assuming that this should be either a field or an object, but this is neither. This is a relationship, due to which you have to say it as double underscore R. Now this will give you all the opportunities along with their associated engagements. There is only one opportunity record for which there is an engagement, due to which only for this specific record you can see this column holding a value, and rest all other columns are with blank values. Let me take a step back and repeat the concept. Now, if at all the relationship is standard, then what we will be doing is, first we will be writing the SOQL query on the parent like how we usually do, and then while writing the SOQL query on the child object, we will be preparing the query, and then for the object name we will be making use of the child relationship name. How will we be getting to know the child relationship name? Go to the child object, go to fields, open the relationship field name, and then you can see a specific control called child relationship name. Whatever it is there, just blindly copy paste it. No change is needed if the relationship is standard. Then how should we do if the relationship is custom? First, write your SOQL query on the parent, no change at all. Then write your SOQL query on the child in parenthesis. Then while specifying the object name, again the process is same. Go to the child object, go to the fields, open the relationship field, copy the relationship name, and then once you get the child relationship name, append double underscore R, so that the system will understand that it is a custom relationship. And this is how we will be doing it. Any questions?
Hey, hi Aditya. Can you show that relationship once again, that custom relationships?
I mean, you want the SOQL query or the field?
In the Salesforce, how can we go to that engagement?
Okay. So basically, it is same even if it is a standard or even if it is a custom. Go to your child object. I mean, child object is the place where you will be creating the lookup or the master detail field. So go to the child object, identify the field. This is the field. Open this field. And once you open this field, you can see something called as child relationship name. This will be same even for standard or for custom. Copy this. If it is custom, append double underscore R. If it is standard, just blindly put it whatever it is.
Can you go to the schema builder?
Sure.
It just I like to see the graphical. It's much
Perfect.
better.
Gotcha. So first I'll show for the standard so we can relate to, and then I'll go for the custom. If you see here, the relationship is one to many, which is so clear that account is the parent and contact is the child. And in this contact, this is the specific field. Account name is the field. So we will be opening this specific field and identifying the relationship, child relationship name. Now, if I want to do the same for, let me clear all engagement, and I know that engagement is related with opportunity. As the relationship is master detail, you can see this in red color. Now I know that my opportunity is the parent and engagement is the child, and the field name is opportunity over here. If I double click on this, it can show me the child relationship name. I mean, as it is custom, it is opening up directly here, but usually it is recommended to go to the specific field, open it, and then copy the relationship name. But in my example, engagement is the child, opportunity is the parent. Is it clear now?
Yeah, clear.
Can you show the child relationship name in Lightning? Sure.
Yeah,
The
yes.
process is
Thank
still
you.
the same. Yeah, thank you. The process is still the same. No matter which experience you are making use of, you just have to go to the specific object manager and then the fields. But yeah, I'll take a moment and I'll show that as well. So first let me go to my custom object, which is engagement. Going to fields. I know that this is the field which is speaking about relationship. Opening this. And if I come down, I have this child relationship name. Just the interface got changed, not the things that work behind the scenes. This is how you will be able to get details of your child object while having your SOQL on the parent. Technically speaking, you're having two SOQL queries. One SOQL is on the parent and one SOQL is on the child. But the thing that you're eliminating here is you're eliminating the unnecessary where clauses, telling that get me the child only of this associated parent. The system is quite smart enough. When you write something like this, in every row, it is fetching context of that specific account only in every row. If you see here, it is not getting engagement of some other opportunity. It is placing you the engagements of this specific opportunity only. You're not writing any logic for that. That is the only save from Salesforce over this. And also let me tell you, when you count number of SOQL queries that got executed behind the scenes, it is 2 in count, not 1. But when you have your SOQL query on the child object, and if you are still trying to access something from the parent, it is treated as only one SOQL query. But whereas here, as you have two select keywords, it is treated as multiple SOQL queries, 2 in count. And I personally recommend not to make use of parent to child relationships all the time. If at all the requirement is so strong that it cannot be implemented without making use of parent to child, only then go for it. Else, my strong advice is do not go for it, because the resource consumption is very huge when we speak about parent to child. It is internally trying to add some filters, internally trying to check the associated records and then preparing a table for you. It might look simple from the front end, but the way how it works in the back behind the scenes is kind of complex. So it is recommended not to really make use of this unless required. Please write SOQL query for opportunity, account, contact. Let me tell you, okay, I can write SOQL query for account to contact and opportunity to account, but I cannot really have all three in a single SOQL query. Do you want me to still write that? I do not see any response.
Aditya, can we write a query for contact which has the opportunities?
I do not actually have any relationship. Do you have any relationship for contact and opportunity?
No, we can't. But if there is any something like any opportunity, every opportunity will have the contact, right?
Every opportunity will have a contact through account, correct?
Yes. So
Okay,
if there is case, if it is a requirement like what are the opportunities which has been contact for a particular name, something like my one name, how many opportunities were there? If there is any requirement kind of thing, then how can we do it?
okay, so let me just break your requirement into multiple steps. You're telling that you have account and you have contact and you're having opportunity. I'm clear till there. And I know that contact is the child for account and opportunity is also child for account. Am I on the same page with you?
Yes.
Okay, now tell me the requirement. What are you trying to fetch here?
No, just like see, I want to know as an end user, I'm saying. So I want to know the particular person who what is the opportunities on his name. What are the opportunities on his name?
So you will be giving me the contact ID, and for that
Yes,
contact ID, you wanted to know the associated opportunities,
but
correct?
other opportunities. Yes.
If you just give me the contact ID and you want to get the opportunities, that can't be done in a single SOQL query. No, that can't be done. You have to write two SOQL queries. One SOQL query to get the account ID, and with the account ID fetched, you have to write one more SOQL query.
Okay.
That will be doing it in Apex, because you have to create some variables to store it and then do it. So it's not a single SOQL which I can show in query editor. In Apex programming, we will be doing that.
We have to customize, right? Okay.
Yes, we have to. See, all the
Okay.
SOQL queries, you will not give them to end users. All the SOQL queries, you will be using them in Apex only. Every
Okay.
SOQL query, that whatever we have discussed so far, you will not ask your customer to go to developer console and write this, right? We will be understanding the way how SOQL works, and we'll be making use of this in the corresponding Apex classes when we get enough requirement. That is how we'll be doing it. But if you have to make use of this in your Apex, you need to first brace yourself and understand the way how SOQL actually works.
Okay. That way,
Okay,
but it will not be done.
everything.
Okay.
No, query editor is only for the developer to understand what kind of results are being fetched as part of SOQL query. That's it. But it has to be used in Apex ultimately. In order to provide benefit for the end user, it has to be used in Apex.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So once can you go back to the development?
Yes, honest.
Yeah. Can you begin to write a SQL from contact to account and then to opportunity? So you can connect all three tables together?
Okay, let me repeat my point. I can write something on the contact, and that can provide me the details of just its associated account, but not the opportunity. Reason being, contact and opportunity are not directly related. I have to
Oh,
write once. Yeah,
but the account connect to opportunity, right?
they are connected through opportunity in an indirect way, and indirect way cannot really help us to fetch the details. If at all you still want to achieve it, as I said earlier, you have to write multiple SOQL queries, one on this to capture this, and once you capture this, then write on this. It can't be done in a
Yeah.
single SOQL query like how I'm trying to demonstrate.
Yeah. Can you do that?
I mean, okay, I think it will be too much for everyone, but it's completely on Apex. If you're familiar with Apex, then you will be able to relate to what I will be showing. Are you familiar with Apex?
Yeah.
Okay, I can show that to you. So will you be giving me the contact ID, or you want to get associated opportunities of all the contacts? You around?
Or else is there any chance, like in the internal query, like we do parent, right? In the braces.
Okay.
So in that, can we add another like contact?
Like a two, is there like a two for loop? Can you do like a two for
No,
loop?
no, no, no. Okay, fine. I will
Contact to
show you.
account. And,
I will show you the logic what has to be written. So you wanted to get the contact associated opportunities, correct? Is it the right
yes.
understanding?
Uh-huh.
Now what I'm trying to do here is from the contact, I'm trying to gather all the account IDs and I'm storing in one variable. This is how we have to do.
Can you paste that
In the
SQL
fifth
into the
line, you are
chat?
querying the opportunity but assigning to the contacts. Is it right?
Is it
Oh, sorry.
working?
This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. This should be contact here.
So I think we can query in the single query, like the ninth line. So there we need to add where account ID in, select account ID from contact.
No, 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 no. Let's not. If we do that, I will get the opportunities of all the contacts. But here, I want the details of contacts and also the opportunities.
So here in the ninth line, after account ID is there, right?
I understand what you're telling. You're telling me to put something like this, correct?
No, no. Here, no. So that where ID in select query, select account ID from contact.
Okay, let me tell you. Select account ID from contact. Are you sure that this is what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. ID. This field is of which object? This ID field is belonging to
Opportunity.
opportunity, correct? And you are telling to
Okay.
match the opportunity
Account
ID
ID.
with the account ID. Okay. So it
So
will
yeah,
not.
that only I'm saying. So here you are queried like ID from the contact ID. So that time no records found with account ID, right?
No, no. The reason why I did was, I'll tell you. The reason why I did was because I want to print these contact IDs as well. If I want, I can just add a system.debug over here to show that these are the contacts. Okay. I wanted to print the contacts along with the opportunities.
Okay, got it.
Understood, right? If it is just about fetching the opportunities, then yes, I agree. But I want to print the contact and also the opportunity that is associated with this contact. So for
Okay.
doing that, I want to gather the details of contact for printing them. So I need a
Okay.
SOQL query on it explicitly.
Yeah, correct.
Clear, right?
Yeah.
Can you
Any?
display the name so I know that it is working? Because just look at the ID.
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah.
Fifth line, can you change that?
I'll
Okay.
see it over here. It will throw me the errors if there are any. Set account IDs.
Can you use a system debug so we can see
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
output?
Correct. That is what I did. If you see here, I'm trying to print the contacts. Okay. Line number 3. Okay. Also, let me put system debug for opportunities. Starting from here till here, we are printing all the contacts, and then in the 7th line we are printing the opportunities that are with these contacts. Now if you want to understand the contact and its associated opportunity, then we have to make use of map. Do you want me to do that as well? If you want to know for which contact which opportunity is associated, then I can prepare a map and I can prepare that list as well. Do you need that, or you just want to understand the usage of SOQL?
Yeah, I like the map.
Can we do it towards the end, because I want this to be confined for SOQL so that others can clarify the questions. Maybe we can connect towards end and I can show you the entire snippet of it. Is that
Right,
okay?
thank you. Yes. Can you paste this SQL into the chat? Thank you.
Sure, I can do that. Any other questions, anyone?
Yeah, I have one question. Is there any possibility, like I have know the different object IDs, like I know the few of account ID and few of contact IDs, few of the opportunity IDs.
Okay.
Is there any way to just I want to fetch the based on the ID, I want to fetch the ID and name in the single query?
You have the ID with you.
Means different IDs, set of IDs I have there.
Let me tell you, SOQL is only for a single object, not for
Yeah,
multiple objects. So no way.
Okay.
And you're saying that, let's think like this. You're giving me an account ID. Okay. You have given me an account ID stating as 001, something like this. I'm just
Yes.
making it up. Okay. This is not a
Yes.
valid ID.
Hmm.
And if you say something like this, select ID from contact where ID is equal to, obviously it will give you 0 rows.
Hmm.
Because it will look for the contacts that are having this ID, and unfortunately this is an account ID due to which no contacts will be present and 0 rows will be written.
Yeah, yeah, I got it. But any alternative means I know the IDs, but I want to know the names. at the same time different
Then
object.
I will tell you the only way that is possible for you is uh, prepare all. Okay, you want names of all those. You don't know the object names.
Yes,
I'm
in
afraid
the single.
the only way is identify the object names and then have individual software queries.
Okay.
I think we have find operator. Is there?
That is different. SOSL is different. That works in a kind of different way. I'll come to that. Next topic is SOSL.
Hello, Aditya. Yeah, what is the difference between the record type dot name and record type dot developer name? Like,
Okay, that's a good question. Always think that labels, whenever you see something called as label is only for user understanding. And when you say something like ID or developer name or API name, that is for the system to understand. And when you say record type name, that is something which you have created for your own understanding. And even though if it is not unique, system will allow it. But when you say developer name, you have to ensure that there are no spaces and it is always unique. So it is same like a field label and a field name. One can be duplicated, but whereas the other one cannot be duplicated.
Guys, can we save your questions for the Q&A section so that I can finish the topics which is planned today, or else we'll be in a tight situation. Yeah. So save your questions for Q&A section, please.
Okay. Okay, now let us try to understand the limitations that we have for a SOQL. First thing, in query editor, you will not be getting this error, but if at all you write a SOQL query in your Apex, and if that SOQL query is fetching you more than 50,000, then that will throw an exception. We have something called as governor limits, and maybe we can cover them in the next upcoming sessions. As part of the governor limit, a SOQL query should not fetch or cannot fetch more than 50,000 records. If it is fetching more than 50,000, then it will throw an exception. So how can we do this? Means make sure that you are providing concrete criteria. Your where conditions and should be so concrete that it is not fetching unnecessary records. And if you still cannot guarantee that it can fetch more than, means then always write limit 50,000 in your SOQL query, because we know that we have a keyword called limit. It is always recommended to have limit 50,000 written, even though if you feel that limit is not required. If you have more than 50,000 that are coming as part of your SOQL, it will throw an exception. Then when you are writing a SOQL query, ensure that it is not taking too many number of characters. If it is beyond 20,000, then it won't work. You have to try to optimize it as much as possible. You cannot have the character length of your SOQL beyond 20,000. Next thing is, I told you that you can make use of like operator, but like operator is having some limitations that it cannot be applied on a field of type text area. And it cannot also be applied on the field of type ID. You cannot say that select ID from contact where ID like use wildcards and say 003. No, that won't work. And in the same way, like cannot be applied for a field of type text area. Then when we speak about the query relationships, I mean, like when you're trying to write a query, taking relationships into consideration, remember that only till 5 levels you can do it. You can say contact dot account dot owner dot profile dot something you can go, but it cannot go beyond 5 levels. Only till 5 levels it is allowed, not beyond 5 levels. And in a single SOQL query, you cannot have more than 20 parent to child relationships, which means you can get account and contacts, account and opportunities. Like that, you can fetch multiple things in a single SOQL query, but it should not exceed more than 20. These are the limitations, and I will also post the document which Salesforce has provided for your easy reference, because if there is any update where they can increase some limitations, in order to keep you updated, always refer to this specific link. This will give you enough understanding on the limitations that we have to take into consideration while making use of SOQL. Then let's enter into the next phase. It is SOSL. It shouldn't take much time because we understood how the SOQL works on most of the keywords. SOSL is kind of similar to SOQL with little difference. The first thing is, when we speak about SOSL, it is not actually doing for query, it is actually doing a search. When I say search, it is searching across all the objects, not in a single object. It is searching across all the objects. And also, to make it easy to understand, what I will do is I will just say John over here. If I just say John, it did a search on the opportunity, it did a search on the lead, and it also did a search on the contact. It did search on all the three objects, and it is showing you all the related records. In the same way, if you know a specific keyword and if you want to search in all the objects, then what you can do is you can make use of something called as SOSL. Salesforce Object Search Language is the elaborated term. Then what is the syntax? This is having only one mandatory keyword, just find. If you say find and then if you provide the keyword, it will give you the results. You don't really have to think too much about this. Just find and then say John. That's it. When you click on execute, it is showing you that there are 7 opportunity records that have John. There are 3 lead records and there are 5 contact records. If I come here, that is what I see. There are 7 opportunity records, 3 lead records, and 5 contact records. But if I look into this opportunity name, I see that nowhere John is present. Nowhere John is present. It is Edge Emergency Generator. Now, if I try to open this record, let me switch to classic, it will be fast. If I open the specific record of Edge Emergency Generator, and if I come down, I see that there is a field by name main competitors, which is holding a keyword by name John, due to which it came up. So what does it mean? It means that SOSL is searching across all the objects and across all the fields. Understood? If at all you don't know in which object you have to search for, then what we can do is we can make use of SOSL. But let me tell you, Salesforce Object Search Language is also having some limitations. Give me 1 minute, please. Yes, thank you. Let us look into the keywords. First, we'll understand the keywords, then maybe we'll look into the examples. In that way, it will be easy for us. First thing is we have to make use of find, and after this find, we will be specifying the keyword, whatever we want to place. Then we have something called as in. What is this in for? In this in, you will be specifying what are the fields that you have to look at. Do not look at all the fields, look at a specific field. If you want to restrict your search like that, then you can make use of the in operator. So now what I will do is I do not want to look for John across all fields. I want to look for John only in the name field. Then what I will do is find John in name fields. That's it. Find John in name fields. Now if you see, lead, opportunity have been eliminated, and also in the contact there were 5 records earlier, but now I see only 4 records. Why? Among these records, I see that there is a record by name Lincoln Dado, and for Lincoln Dado, John is present not in the name field but at the other address field, due to which it came up. But now I am telling to the system to look only at name field, due to which that record got eliminated. Now let's see returning. Let me remove in to see how returning works. Returning, to specify the objects to be fetched. Now you know that few objects are to be searched. Do not look at all the objects, look only at 2 objects. In that case, what you can do is there is a keyword called returning. So just say returning. What is the object that you want to look at? You want to look at only leads and contacts. That's it. Just say returning lead comma contact. Now if you see, lead is coming up, contact is coming up. But earlier when we did, lead, contact, and opportunity also came up, but now only lead and contact are coming up. Now if you want to tell ID is not really giving me enough information, along with ID, show me name as well. Then what you can do is ID comma name, and here also you can say in the brackets ID comma name. And if I click on execute, see, for lead I am seeing ID and name, and for contact I am seeing ID and name. Now you want to tell to the system that, okay, look only at the name field and then return me only the lead records and contact records, means in name field. Sorry. See, now I got only the contact records, and only 4 records are actually meeting this criteria, because there are only 4 records that are having John in the name field. And what am I telling? Even though if it is present in many other objects, do not return me everything. Return me only the lead and contact, as there are no lead records With name as John, it did not come up, and for contact there are 4, and due to which those 4 came up over here. Then limit is pretty straightforward. We know how limit works, we know how order by works, we know how where works. I do not want to spend much time on these 3 because we have covered these 3 in our SOQL. Now let us look into these examples so that we can spend much time on Q&A session. To get all records that has John in any field of any object, very simple, just say find John. It will look for all the fields of all the objects. To get all records that has John in name field of any object, they are saying that it should look for only at the name field. So for looking at a name field, what is the keyword we have? In is the keyword to specify the fields to look at. So find John in name fields. If I say this, okay, only 4 came up. Then to get all records that has John in any field of contact object, they're telling no field, we do not want to look at any of the field, but to look at the contact. So I will remove this name and then I will say returning contact. So what will happen? It will look at every field, but it will return only contacts. That is why the result is 5, but earlier the result is 4. Because earlier we are telling to look at only the name field, but now we are telling to look at every field, but object should be contact. Ideally, this is kind of not a good practice, because if when you know the specific object, go for SOQL, not look for SOSL. Then to get all records that has either John or Ravi in the name field of contact object. Okay. Till now we are looking only for a specific keyword, but now we are actually looking for a condition. If it is having either John or Ravi, then bring it up. Okay. Then what we can do is we can say something like this. Find John or Ravi returning contact. Now if you see there are quite some good number of records. So what I will do is I will bring the name as well. If you see, Ravi Kumar is there, Ravi Shankar is there, and then John records are there, due to which they came up. Find John or Ravi returning contact name. Then to get all records by showing the name and phone details that has either John or Ravi in the name field of contact object. So now they want to show name and phone details as well. So returning contact name comma phone. Now I'm saying name and phone. So I am not using any SOQL here. I am making use of SOSL. The keywords that we have here are pretty much less. If you understand the document thoroughly, it will be very easy for you. The keywords that we have here are find, after find, specify the keyword, in, after in, specify the fields to be looked at, returning, tell the objects, limit, order by where are pretty much the same. We don't really have to go too deep. Now, let me tell you the differences between SOQL and SOSL. SOQL is more like a query and you are looking only at a specific object, but whereas SOSL, it is searching. When you say searching, you are looking at multiple objects. In SOQL, you can look at multiple objects, but the prerequisite is they must be related. But whereas in SOSL, the objects can be related or cannot be related. Even though if they're related or not, that is still fine. And as part of SOQL, you cannot fetch more than 50,000 records. It will come as an exception for you. In SOSL, you cannot fetch more than 2,000 records. And this is the basic syntax or the basic example of SOQL. And when we speak about SOSL, this is the basic syntax. Now, also, let me tell you that you can search only for text, email, and phone fields in SOSL. Someone told me earlier that IDs we can make use of SOSL. IDs are not supported for SOSL. You can actually use only for this, and do not use SOSL, just for the sake of it. Go for SOQL if you see that this can be implemented. If you feel that this is something too complex to be implemented, or if you want a global such kind of functionality to be implemented, only then go for SOSL. Reason being, the limitations that we have for SOSL are very, very more when compared with SOQL, especially this. You cannot get more than 2,000 records. When you work for a real-time entity, the record count will obviously be too huge. And if your SOQL query or the query whatever you're writing is not able to fetch all the generated results, then it's not of a very great use. So when you know that these are the objects that has to be looked at, go for SOQL. But when you want to implement more like a search and you're not bothered about the count of records that are being written, only then go for SOSL, Salesforce Object Search Language. With this, the session of SOQL and SOSL comes to an end, and I think we can have the questions now.